Hello and welcome to Cranky Gamers UK, the show where we take your normal everyday gamers, oil them up and toss them into our grapple pit. I'm your host, Kid Dogg, and joining me again this week is the crankiest gamer in the UK, Mr. Toz.
Hi all again, Mona here as usual, more to come.
And making a special appearance, we've pinched him from the Weeds podcast. He's the brother from Weeds, and as you know, any fans of The Simpsons, nothing alive can outrun a greased Scotsman. It's Jason.
Hey, it's great to be here. How do you? Hey guys.
Okay, we'll start off the show by saying what we've been playing. Actually, surprisingly, mostly this week, I've been playing Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors, which is a Game Boy Advance title. Toz, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, well, since finishing The Darkness last week, which I've just got to say still stays at my favourite all-time game, I think, now. Was very surprised to hear One Up give that a very bad review on the ending. Personally, I think it only could go that way, and it was expected, and to me it just rounded the story off. But what I've been playing, basically not much, to be honest. Bit of Gears, played the DS, played a fantastic little game on the DS called My Pet Alien. Worth checking out if anybody wants to go and look at that. Will be a very surprising hit, I think. But yeah, not much. Bit of Gears, bit of DS.
Alright then, and Jason, what have you been playing this week?
I've been on my GBA. I was playing. I think it was Astro Boy Omega Factor. It's quite an old game, but it's a fantastic shooter made by Rare. No, sorry, Treasure. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure people know about Treasure. They made some of the best 2D scrolling shooters of the back in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, it's a brilliant game. It's based on the TB anime, but it is a brilliant game. It has some really good mechanics in there. And other than that, I think I put a little, like Toz said, I've been playing a bit of Gears online. We did a little bit of co-op last night. We got pretty far in it. So that's actually quite a good laugh. And 360 wise, I think I put a little bit of Chrome Hounds, and yeah, I also demoed them. I also played a little bit of the Darkness demo as well. So yeah, that was actually quite promising from what I played. So yeah, that was me.
I'm getting the sense, Jason, that you're a bit of a Treasure fan, because I believe the last time I listened to Weeds, you recommended another Treasure shooter, didn't you, for the Virtual Console?
That's right, yes. I actually recommended Gunstar Heroes for the Virtual Console on the Nintendo Wii. One of the best, in my regard, as one of the best 2D scrolling shooters of all time.
Well, there you go. So if you want a good side-scrolling shooter, check out Treasure. Alright, let's drop straight into the news. And this week, we got to see some Metal Gear Solid 4 gameplay, and it's left a lot of the PS3 owners drooling with anticipation, and a lot of 360 owners green with envy. So guys, what are your thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 4 gameplay?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I went straight to look for it as soon as I heard it was up and running on GameTrailers.com. Got to see it in HD. To be quite frank, absolutely mind-blowing. Stunning bit of game. Finally, I think we've seen the PlayStation 3 being able to make a cracking game. It does look amazing. Stealth, great little demo. It just looks the best thing I've seen on the PS3 so far. But the big question is, will it be a PS3 seller? My personal opinion, I still don't think they're going to do it with just one game, even though it looks fantastic. And yeah, I'd like to play it, but to me it's not a £500 buying a PS3 to play game, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think, I'm not too sure about this one. I mean, it does look, don't get me wrong, it looks fantastic. It's probably the best looking game for the PS3 so far, next to Resistance Fall of Man. But overall, I mean, I've seen the demo thing, as Toz also mentioned, and it does look fantastic. They've got some really new features, like with the whole stealth, where you can use different types of binoculars and different settings, and the whole kind of combat system has been changed quite a bit since the previous titles in the series. So yeah, it really does look impressive. But like Toz says, and like I'm thinking the same thing as well, is that, you know, is it going to sell on PlayStation 3? Is it going to shift them off the shelves? Because from what I can see at the moment, there's a lot of PS3s still on the shelves right now, with so much dust, and it's just like, you know, they're not selling. You know, they're just sitting there, no one's buying them, and for one game, for 600 quid, come on, you can't really justify one game for that price.
Did anybody think the stealth? I mean, the first statue bit at the beginning was quite amazing, to be honest. It looked fantastic. But did anybody think the stealth later on looked a little bit silly, where when he was lying on the floor and changed into the tiles? I mean, you know, all right, it was a bit stealthy. It was the same colour as the floor, but the guy walked right past him. That to me looked a little bit a bit suspect. I did like, on another subject on it, I did like the first person mode for the first time, although it did look like it could do with changing a little bit with the wobble motion, as I call it. But yeah, the stealth, I think, obviously Metal Gear is a stealth game. It's always been known as a stealth game, and obviously they've tried to incorporate it with the changing, but I just thought that the statue was great. It was a brilliant little touch. Even holding the guy's dewdrops was a nice little touch, but the stealth later on I thought was pretty average.
You mean in his magic suit that takes on the colour and texture of the floors? Yeah, that did look a bit ropey, but it's Metal Gear. It's not exactly full true to life stealth. It does have its sort of elements. I mean, for Christ's sake, you can appear as a metal drum, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, but as we all know, the best bit of original Metal Gear was the good old faithful cardboard box.
Yeah, that's very true, Toz. But from my opinion, anyway, on seeing that a little bit about him sort of melding, almost like a chameleon in a way, almost because like how chameleons can almost replicate their environment to their skin and they can kind of copy it. I think it's a really good idea. I mean, obviously for the floor, if like a guard or an enemy knocks into you, it's going to be absolute it'll just go to hell. But I think if you were up against a wall or some sort of something that puts you in cover, and you could use the same mechanic and actually replicate that wall texture, it's definitely useful there. But yeah, I think on the tile thing, like on the floor, is pretty useless. It's a bit stupid.
I just would have liked to have seen. I love the idea, touch the wall, chameleon the wall, but I would love to have seen where, say, he lay on the floor and he changed to the tiles. I would have liked for him then literally, melt into the floor kind of thing. That to me would be stealthy. It just looked like it was blocky, stood there, anybody could... Well, for the guy not to basically see him on the floor, he must have been blind, to be quite truthful. But yeah, it's a good idea. I just thought, I'm hoping it's handled a lot better.
Well, I don't know, because I think, in the past Metal Gear Solid games, they've usually had this little bit of humour, and, I mean, I don't know if you noticed it, but I think Hideo Kojima likes to have that little bit of funniness sort of incorporated into the games, especially if you think back to Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes on the GameCube, which of course was the only iteration of the series that was done on another format. They made like little cameos of like Mario and Link and Peach and Yoshi, and they had these little dolls in like a big massive office that was just like, and when you shot them you got bonuses. And again, okay, it's not, it seemed a bit odd, but it's just little things like that that really are quite comical and add a little bit of humour to the series and the game, whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I don't really mind it. I just think that, if you think back to the previous games, they have had these little bits of humour, and I think that's just a little bit of Kojima's sort of black kind of comedy side, coming out. So yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Kojima's always renowned for that as well. I just hope it's handled better with the top next-gen console. Just on Kojima slightly, I did see a great interview this week with him and two of the other Japanese game developers. It was a cracking little listen. It was subtitled, but I think you can pick that up on GameTrailers.com. Nice little interview talking about how they have enjoyed making the games over the years and what the future. It was well worth a listen.
I see.
And probably the one thing that is going to break everybody's hearts, it does appear that Metal Gear Solid 4 will be the last Metal Gear, because I know he said it before that, it will be the last one, but it's looking that way with the appearance of Meryl, Raiden, Vamp, and all of the much-loved characters from the Metal Gear series, so, this one could be the end. Anyone else want to say anything else on Metal Gear Solid 4?
Yeah, I mean, he has said it before, hasn't he, but he does actually mention it in that interview I've just said as well. I think, to be honest, he's aiming to move on, to hopefully get away from Metal Gear and he obviously is going to make a fantastic game if he decides to make a new title, which I can't see it being a bad thing. I mean, I think I mentioned in last week's show, I'm just getting a little bit sick of the, so-and-so 4s and so-and-so 5s and 6s and 7s. I mean, come on, let's have some new stuff. Got to, haven't we?
Okay, well, just to latch this one on to Taz's little rant about way too many sequels, this week saw the release of the full Resident Evil 5 trailer, which, as a huge Resident Evil fan, I am simply drooling over. Showcasing some fantastic graphics, which are meant to be the in-game graphics itself, fast Dawn of the Dead zombie style, so should be a fun action game.
To be honest, I haven't actually gone and seen the full trailer. Is it the one that was on at E3?
No, it's an extended version of that. There's a lot. You find out that Chris Redfield is actually the main character for this game. It's set in, it's either Africa or a sort of Haiti-style shanty town. It's awkward to gauge what's actually going on. They appear to be getting infected. I'm not sure if it's the T-virus or where they're taking the story with this one, but it does look incredibly gorgeous.
Yeah, it wasn't, I think, yeah, it's obviously set in Africa, because they didn't want to have a little bit of a reservation about where they was heading with it, that they might hit a bit of a problem regarding, you know, racism and starting in Africa and where it all started. I think that was a touchy subject. One Up picked up on it. Whether they're staying in Africa or whether it obviously doesn't go that way, we'll have to wait and see. But I know that One Up were concerned about it starting in Africa, but I'll have to check it out. Like I say, I've not actually seen it, so I will check it out.
Yes, that's right, Toz. I've actually seen the trailer as well. And I think, to be honest, although I'm really looking forward to it, and I think there's a lot of potential within what it's got, I can't really see. There's just something about it. I mean, if you look back to Resident Evil 4, that was that was the pinnacle of the series for me. I think overall that Resident Evil 4 was definitely, you know, the best in the series, and I really can't see. I hope that they bring out something new to the series and they make it more fresh. Of course, using the same mechanics that they built within Resident Evil 4, but I really can't see too much difference between Resident Evil 4 and, of course, the next gen Resi on Xbox 360 and PS3.
I mean, even though I rant about the 4s, 5s and 6s, Resident Evil must still go down as one of the greatest games ever played. Although I will add that I'm mostly like this regarding sequels. I actually think I can put my hand on my heart and say that there has been very few sequels that I have actually enjoyed as much as the very first game. The first Resident Evil, to me, was the best by a mile. I think, picked up Resident Evil 2, and it was the most atrocious game to me. I mean, that's just my opinion, as always. But yeah, I'm always on the first games. Like The Darkness, I've got a funny feeling they're going to drag a Darkness 2 out, and it'll be such a shame, because if you haven't picked up Darkness as I keep going on, you must. It's an 18, it's an adult game. I've never heard so much language in it in my life. But I like the first game in series. I don't like sequels, because for me they're just tagging on just to make more money. But that's my opinion.
Res 2 atrocious? I'm against you on that one. I'm afraid. I think Res 2 was perhaps one of the greatest video game sequels we've had. But then again, this, you know, it's personal choice, and it's not called Cranky Gamers for nothing. And some more news from Ubisoft. The next Splinter Cell is going to be unfortunately delayed until next year, kind of going against Microsoft's every game out this year thing from E3, which is a shame. So, guys, what do you think to Splinter Cell being delayed until 2008?
Well, to be honest, I'm not a Splinter Cell fan. Jason actually got me into Splinter Cell on the 360 this week, and I basically played the first level, and if I tell you that it's already been swapped and I've got Tiger Woods, not my cup of tea, although I like the look of the new one did look good. But regarding date slipping, I think we all know as gamers, it's just one of them things, and I also think that Microsoft's great announcement that all games 2007, don't be surprised if you see 4, 5, 6 games slipping. It's one of them things, it always happens.
Well, to be quite frank, the whole thing about Splinter Cell, it's completely changed. I mean, I really don't like the look of it now. They've totally changed the format, you know, of the whole him being like an agent, and you've got all this gear and tech, you know, all the equipment, and I really can't stand it. It just seems like they're trying to take it into a more kind of GTA or, you know, route where you've basically got this huge sprawling city and you're trying to go undercover and things like that. Kind of like what you did in Double Agent, where you had two options. You could either go on this sort of all the gangsters and like all the people that were breaking it and doing, you know, criminal acts, or you could, you know, change to the, you know, the other side, which is when you were trying to, you know, crack them and, you know, and lock them up, and sort of find all these sort of drug lords and stuff. But no, I can't. I'm really not happy about this new iteration of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. You know, they're obviously trying to change the game, so. Obviously, for die-hard fans of any franchise of a game, the worst thing the producers can do is try and go down a different way. It just alienates everybody, and it starts your game off on a bad foot. I mean, if you're looking at it from, say, like my point of view, who's never played more than 20 minutes of a Splinter Cell game, the new game looks fantastic. It looks a stunning, real good game. So from my point of view, yeah, but I do really agree with what Jason says, that as he is a die-hard Splinter Cell fan, and they are trying to change it. Whether that's good or bad, time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been playing Splinter Cell games since the very first one, back in the day, and I really couldn't. I mean, if you think about, of all the different, chapters in the series now, it just seems like they're trying to. Okay, they're going a different route with the game, but with all these things like where you pick up things in the environment, it doesn't really change the fact that that it's not Splinter Cell. It's almost. I mean, okay, maybe if they try and incorporate the whole stealth mechanics and how he maybe gets his suit back and whatnot, maybe like halfway through the game, and you build up to that. But nah, I really don't like the way that it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I did play Splinter Cell 1, and I played, I believe it was Pandora Tomorrow, which was, I believe is the second Splinter Cell game, and that was the last time I played it. But yeah, new direction for Splinter Cell was a bit odd because it's the whole sort of secret agent stealth thing. It was sort of the Ubisoft's answer to Metal Gear, and now it just seems to be some kind of street brawl game where you can hit people over the head with coffee cups, tables, and God knows what else. I'm sure Ubisoft will come out and say, yeah, it's important to the story to keep the story moving on and to keep the game fresh, but I like Splinter Cell when you were the man on the mission, it was just you had to infiltrate a huge, building full of bad guys and try and sort them all out quietly. That was good, but now it's just looking like it's some sort of street brawler where, I can hit you over the head with a coffee cup. How good is that, So it's a very big departure.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that they're trying to change, but like I say, I like the look of it. I really do. I think it looks a great game, but you might be alienating the bad, the gamers that love Splinter Cell series. Do you change or not? I think, can you congratulate them on trying to make it come up to date? Like Jason says, they are probably trying to go down the GTA route, where we all know that's a franchise killer, isn't it? That sells millions. The worst thing in my opinion, basically, is when you try and copy a game. So, they've got to be careful. It does look great, but we'll see.
And in further Ubisoft news, they've been announced that they're going to be creating a video game based on the hit television show Heroes, and I believe it was next year we're going to be having the video game of Lost. Now, to my memory, in recent years there's only been 2 video games based on television series. One was Dark Angel, and the other was Alias, and they both were not very good. So, guys, what do you think to having video games based on TV series?
Well, to be honest, as we all know, we're down the old road of movie tie-ins again, aren't we? There's only ever been one great movie game tie-in, and that is Riddick Butcher Bay. If as listeners have not tried it out there, it's simply one of the must games that you've got to try. It's a great game. Now, as for bringing Lost and Heroes to the piece, I mean, come on, can you actually think of a game that Lost could work in any genre of game? Because I can't. Alright, Heroes, you've got superheroes. That's open to many a game. But I just hate this movie tie-in, and now hearing the news that they're going down the Heroes and Lost route is just another dire bit of news for me. They just don't come off well, and they're there just plainly to make money, because soon as a movie tie-in comes out, you check the top 10 charts, and everybody goes out and buys the silly game because it's to do with the silly movie, and I just hate it. I hope they just can it, but I know they won't do.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way, Toz. With this whole movie tie-in, go out and buy it as fast as possible. It's amazing. It's based on the movie, the characters and everything. People just get totally obsessed with that, especially with the last couple of films, like, Transformers the movie, and it's utter crap, basically. For a start, you have for example, Butcher Bay for the Xbox original, which is getting re-released on the Xbox 360 with 40% new content. And that is a great game. It was probably one of the best movie tie-ins for any system of all time, next to GoldenEye and whatnot. But obviously we won't get into that. But I think the whole thing with cash-ins is that, like you say, it's a cheap way to make money, a quick buck, and well, I mean, do we actually know who's developing these games by any chance, so that we get a rough idea of what's going on?
The games are both being developed by Ubisoft. I believe it's Ubisoft Montreal, the same company that do Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed.
Now, yeah, that there in itself is quite promising. I mean, if it's going to be developed by one of their in-house teams at Montreal, then that is quite promising, so that we know that a decent, in-house company such as Ubisoft is developing the games. But at the same time, in-house, I mean, especially these games, I mean, come on, the Heroes, I mean, okay, that's probably the only decent one, because obviously with the powers and the characters, and of course there'll be a lot of action, but come on, Lost, I mean, Lost is, I mean, I didn't even enjoy watching that thing. That was an absolute bit of cack, American bollocks crap. Honestly, it was terrible. I mean, I can't even imagine how they can make it into a game, never mind make it a decent show to actually sit down and park your ass and watch.
Yeah, I agree with that. A strong point there, yeah. I mean, just coming back to what you said about Butcher Bay, I mean, are you 100% sure it's coming to the 360? Because it's always been renowned that it's one title that they've flatly refused to do backwards compatibility on.
Well, this one, they're actually doing it. They're definitely going ahead with it. There's been two official announcements, especially from the main developer, which is, of course, Starbreeze. And they said that they're adding 40% new content to the main campaign, along with an online multiplayer mode, which will be co-op and like deathmatch, capture the flag, and a few special online modes as well.
All right, that's great news then, because like I say, it's a stunning game, absolutely stunning. So, yeah, I mean, let's hope they do bring it out. But yeah, as for your point about Lost, I did actually watch Series 1 of Lost. To be honest, I have never seen a TV show go from an absolute stunning first series to the biggest load of tripe ever churned out on any TV set. My wife watched every series and still is, and I cannot believe it, honestly. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick point about the Butcher's Bay, Toz. It's not going to be... they are remaking the game. It won't be a back compat thing. It will be a brand new engine, brand new everything. And as for Lost, I'm not even going to talk about Lost because, well, I think Jason put it quite well. It's a load of... Well, thanks to Jason, I'm now going to have to go and find some bleeped sound effects for the podcast, but yeah, Lost, not good.
Yeah, I mean... The Butcher Bay, yeah, it's been great news if it comes to 360, which obviously you two say it is. I should definitely be looking forward. That's probably why then that Microsoft have in the past flatly refused to backwards compatible, make it backwards compatible. So that's probably why they have. They've known all along that it's going to come out, which is it's good. It's a great game.
Just seeing as we're on a little bit of a rat hole here about Butcher's Bay. It was an exclusive Xbox title, wasn't it? It didn't appear on the PS2, did it? It was just an Xbox-only title.
I've actually played it on the PC. It is on the PC, definitely, because I've actually played it on the PC.
Yeah, I think you'll find that it's definitely an only for Xbox exclusive. And yes, it was on the PC, but at the same time, I actually tried the PC. I tried like a little demo of it, and it was pretty poor, pretty shoddy port of the game. I mean, I don't know who converted it over to the PC format, but it wasn't up to standard. So yeah, if you want to get this game, get it for the Xbox. Look out for the next, revamp of this title coming soon.
I'll actually slightly disagree with you there, Jason. If you're saying you played the demo on the PC, I actually had the full game, and the full game was actually up to standard. Whether the demo you played was still old and needed changing, probably was, because the PC version was just as good. No change. Quite good actually with the mouse control once you got used to it. But yeah, PC version was fine.
Well, I mean, I've got a really powerful PC at home here, as I'm sure you're well aware of, and it can handle most games nowadays, like up-to-date ones like, Battle for Middle-earth and whatnot. But no, this game had lots of bugs in it. It was very shoddy. The frame rate was especially poor. And I noticed there was some sort of clipping. For possibly some of the 3D models, there was a hell of a lot of clipping. I don't know how that could have happened, because if you played it on the Xbox, it is a masterpiece.
I actually heard, and I've heard this on another podcast actually, that there was slight clipping on the Xbox version. There was a few bugs in it regarding that, but it didn't take away from the gameplay. It was still a great game. As for the PC version, but yeah, I mean, it was fine to me. I didn't notice any problems with it. I actually got 3/4 of the way through it, and I didn't notice any. And the frame rates was fine. So I don't know, Jason. I don't know what you was doing, mate. But yeah, it was perfectly fine for me.
Yeah, I've got no idea either. I mean, I expected it to actually look better. Being on the PC, it did look a bit nicer. Obviously, being at a higher resolution. But yeah, the frame rate was really poor, and some of the controls, like some of the buttons, were a bit unresponsive at times. I mean, I guess it could just be the demo that I was playing. It possibly could have been like an early tech demo, that it was obviously still in development at the time. So yeah, that could have just been the problem.
Yeah, mate, I'm pretty certain 100% it was because you played the demo. The actual full release was fine, bar the odd clipping, which I think a lot of games get.
Yeah, most games generally have clipping, but in the PC demo that I had, there was more clipping than what was in the Xbox version. A lot more.
Yeah, but as we know, demos are pre-release and...
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, mate. Can mostly not even be anywhere near final release, but yeah, that's about it for me on Butcher Bay anyway.
Oh, for the Map Break Weekly Tune Rat Hole. Okay, moving on, and our final news story is, hopefully something exciting for you. We've had Lego Star Wars, we're going to have Lego Batman, and now Indiana Jones is getting in the act. LucasArts announced that they're developing Lego Indiana Jones. So guys, how do you feel about Indy going Lego?
Well, can't contain my excitement. This to me is a Halo 3 killer for me. I just can't wait. Lego Star Wars was fantastic, absolutely great. I think I must have finished the game 4 or 5 times. Just cannot wait for Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is one of my all-time favourite movies. I've played and watched them time and time again and could watch them just endlessly. As for Indiana Jones Lego, it's going to be stunning. I know, slightly changing the subject slightly, wasn't there a bit of a rumour and joke going around the internet that they was actually developing Lego Batman? Has anybody ever heard of that one? I know that's for a fact. One-Up are always talking about it. But as for Indiana Jones, stunning.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. No, but seriously, this is amazing. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but of course, being this, Lego Star Wars, I mean, I've played them over and over, just like Toz has said. And if you think back to the days of the N64, there was in fact a proper game for the N64 that was in development as Indiana Jones, and it was based on the Lost Ark. Now, yes, there was some aliens. I think if you searched the internet, there was some screenshots of this game, and it did look great. But unfortunately, as a lot of N64 games and games of previous, it did get cancelled, and it was panned after about halfway through development. But yeah, this is, if any, game of this sort was made of Indiana Jones, this is the game to make it. And the guys, that made this Lego Star Wars games, I can't see them game. This game is just going to be absolutely fantastic. It really is.
Again, going to need to find the bleep. Yeah, Indiana Jones is like another movie franchise that's perfectly suited to the Lego treatment because, it did have that tongue-in-cheek element, just like the Star Wars films did. So I do admit this is probably going to be a really great and enjoyable Lego game, and actually I'd like to play it because I just love Indiana Jones. Has there been any other Indiana Jones games? Because there's not been one for a while. I know that there was the one that was cancelled for the N64, and wasn't there one Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine or something? I don't know if you guys can help me out on that one.
That's right, yes, exactly. Yeah, I do remember that one.
One of the best Indiana Jones games ever released was the Little Adventure games by LucasArts. Can't you remember them? They were fantastic.
Yeah, yes, I do remember them. The Dig and stuff like that, wasn't it? Day of the Tentacle as well.
Yeah, I think actually there might have been three released Indiana Jones little game. I think now you can actually download them on the internet free somewhere. I've seen them, but they used to be. They was the first, I think, thinking back years ago, was one of the very first games I actually got into. LucasArts adventure games. I would love to see LucasArts try and bring some old adventures back to the 360. I really would, because they used to be the masters at it, the Monkey Island type games, but Indiana Jones Adventure was fantastic.
Yeah, going back to the Indiana Jones thing, now, the moment I heard about this whole thing about, the crossbreed between Lego and Indiana Jones, the moment I heard that on the internet, I thought, wow, Lego puzzles, thinking about the films and how you could integrate, all the pieces of Lego and how you could, make all these different really complex puzzles that you build and you have to take them apart, especially in the last film when you had when Indiana crossed that big massive drop and he had to do the what was it called? I think it was called the Walk of Faith, and you could. Yeah, that's it. And all these different sort of trials that you had to undergo. Now, just imagine that in the game, but in the Lego style. That would just take the biscuit from me. That would be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be a stunner. Just on the Lego side of things, I don't know if everybody is aware, our listeners and YouTube, but I once downloaded a free program from Lego's website that is actually a PC Lego designer. And I absolutely spent hours on it, and it was stunning because what you could do. You downloaded the software, basically designed your Lego whatever you wanted, and you could even email the Lego developers, and they could actually make what you designed for a price. I mean, some of the prices quoted were very high, but it was a great little piece of software to try. So if you want to check out the Lego official website, yeah, it's a free download, and you can just design Lego on it. It's really fun, good fun.
Yeah, sorry, just one more, just one last thing. I just imagine that, you know, if you had Indiana Jones's little, you know, like in the films, he has his little like leather whip that he cracks. Just imagine, right, for certain obstacles that you can't get across, you use the whip to latch onto pieces of Lego on different objects to get yourself up and climb over them. You know, it's just all of these things that you could do. I mean, with Lego and all the movies that could be tied in with with this game of development are just limitless. You know, there's so many great ideas that they could put into it. It really is.
I actually think Lego Indiana Jones will become a massive seller. I really do. I don't know. Do you know any release dates on it? What they're pending or anything?
Probably next year.
I don't know any release dates yet. It probably will be next year. I know there's a trailer up. I think if you go to GameTrailers.com, you'll see it there. It is and you will get the sense of humour straight away. It is hilariously funny. On a side note, I really hope they have the scene in where the guy's messing about with a sword and then he just whips out his gun and shoots him. I think that's going to go across really, really well in the game.
They have got to have a little moment, especially if it's like a little live cutscene. You know, maybe you can possibly even interact with it. Just, you know, the comedy side of things is huge, especially since the guys that made the games are just, you know, were like so big on comedy with the Lego Star Wars games, you know, 1 and 2. They were so, I mean, they pretty much played along with like the whole storylines and just took them apart, and it was absolutely hilarious. And if you do this again, then it's an absolute seller once again. It's another big hit for them.
Well, there you go. Our not so cranky gamers are quite into the Lego side of things. I was just wondering if you guys think that maybe we're getting a bit carried away with the Lego stuff. You know, we've got Lego Star Wars and Lego Indiana Jones, and I think Lego Batman as well. You know, what's next? Lego Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Lego Weird Science. Are we getting carried away, or do you guys like the way it's going?
As we all know, especially on the 360, Microsoft are dying to get the kids' games out. The bit of a disappointment, Viva Pinata. I mean, I think they're really trying to stretch, you know, to get the gaming market away from the hardcore gamers, as we call them. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, Lego, my actual 8-year-old daughter finished Lego Star Wars in 3 days. Totally blew me away. She's finished it on the PSP as well. I think it took her 2 days. But well, that's an 8-year-old that's just moved on to Hard on Guitar Hero 2. So maybe she's getting a little bit better than Dad. So I think we might have to stop some gaming. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem bringing Lego games out. I just think it's a good thing, as long as they don't overdo it, like we've said.
Yeah, as I want to say to you, Toz, I think, you know, if they do, I don't want them to kind of milk this, you know, idea, because it's a great concept, and what you generally find is that over the past couple of years, when a great concept arises in a certain genre of game, they usually just rip it apart. Every company copies it and they milk it down to the last penny. So I think, yeah, it's a great idea, and I hope that they keep doing a couple more franchises. Not so much the comedy ones. I'm hoping that you know, like they take a sort of serious, you know, action film or something along those lines. You know, something that's well established, like Star Wars and like Indiana Jones and like Batman. You know, and make it really comical and playful. But yeah.
So, for example, something maybe along the lines of Lego Die Hard, maybe.
Do you know what? That's what was just coming out of my mouth. I was just going to say an ideal game would be Lego Die Hard. Would be fantastic.
Yippee-ki-yay, brick builder.
Yeah, it'd be really good. Would be a good franchise. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying. Just don't go too far. You know my feelings on the sequels. You know, just keep it within reason.
Okay, after our cranky gamers have praised Lego Indiana Jones and maybe Lego Die Hard, anybody? We're now going to move on to our main topic, which is Xbox Live, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, don't be fooled by our cranky gamers giving good thumbs up to Indiana Jones. This is where we get cranky now. We're all into the grapple pit. So, guys, Xbox Live, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you like? What don't you like? And what makes you cranky?
I think I mentioned this last week, but my massive gripe with Live is the price that the Europeans have to pay. This was going to be my rant of the week, so it might actually be included in this as well. So, but basically, the sheer fact that we have to pay the same amount of money for the content we get is atrocious. It's criminal, in fact. We have got games, we've got movies, we've got We've got Pirates of the Caribbean 2 still on there for download as a movie trailer. Yes, we've got great news that the movies are finally coming to the UK. I've heard end of August, September, whether we do or not. But again, I think it's a bad move because they can't seem to grasp that the UK and Europe are probably 3 to 4 years behind with HD technology. Now, the reason that the movie tie-ins work with America is because they are virtually 90% HD enabled, which is great, fantastic. But my gripe is, you have got to give the UK and Europe something for their money. You cannot expect us to pay £50 on average a year for basically all we're paying for is online gameplay. Now, in my opinion, we should be paying approximately £25 to £30 tops, because quite frankly we're paying the same as America and the difference is huge, absolutely huge, criminal in fact. Should never be allowed at all. In fact, let's be honest, how many have really thought that it would have been made free by now, since Sony have made all their online free? I love my Xbox Live, I love the gaming on it, it's the first time I've got into gaming, but there are so many things that could be made better about it. I mean, I'd like to actually sit down and speak to the people from Xbox Live and actually have a one-to-one discussion. I would love them on the show to have a chat. It would be one of the greatest things I could do, because I would want them to tell me why the UK and Europe have to pay this amount of money for the content we get, because the content we get is atrocious.
Yes, Toz, that is exactly right. I completely agree with that. And but on the other hand, on like a side note, so to speak, I think that when it comes to features like like live voice chat and downloadable content, that's another area that really ticks me off, especially when you can only chat to one person at a time. I mean, if you go into Gears of War and you go into a lobby, it's essentially, you've got 8 people chatting at the same time. I mean, what is so difficult about having, even if it was like maybe 3, 4, 5 people chatting in a chat room? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, whether they'll do that in the update or not, I have no idea. But that is really quite stupid. It completely defeats the purpose of chatting, on Xbox Live. Of course, on other side notes, I think that that these downloadable content that we get for certain games like Perfect Dark or Gears of War, what is the point? I mean, they're charging us 800 points to 1,000 points, for a couple of new maps. Okay, there are people that work behind the scenes and work very, very hard on them and whatnot, to make these extra maps and whatnot. But they should be giving us they should be giving them for free. I mean, why charge them? I mean, we are paying £40 for a whole year, of the privilege to be on Xbox Live, and it's the only system that that charges something. Okay, and we're paying for good quality content, and we expect that as the customer, and yet they've got the cheek to come out and make a pack and charge us 800 points, 1,000 points. It's not on, really. It really isn't on, and I'm not going to pay for them until they start getting their act together and start giving us for free.
To be honest, the downloadable content price, which is going to be a topic of my rant of the week at the end of the show, but basically Jason's spot on. The pricing, to me, I come back to when I first got my 360 and I read a fantastic story where Epic Games, the great Gears game which we all love, it's stunning, basically came out. I can actually see the interview now when I listen to it. Don't worry, we are going to give back to the fans full free downloadable content. The reason being, we've got a sponsorship from Discovery Channel, and I think his words were exactly as well. This will change the way that downloadable content will be delivered to your Xbox. We're getting sponsors, and yeah, Gears did for a first few download packs was free, but then the big M steps in. They don't like it. Sorry, we're not putting content on our machine and giving it away. To me, prices, I mean, okay, we know it's a business, yes, they want to make money, but whoever is actually sat working these prices out, I'm sorry, they're a million miles off, absolute miles away. The average gamer is a working class family, probably got children. The price of 800 points for a few maps, to me, is atrocious. It should be a couple of pound, if that, because quite simply, I've always been a firm believer. Charge £20 for something and one person will download it. Charge £1 for something and 101 people will download it. That's business sense. I've always thought it. but they never do it. To me, prices on downloadable content is atrocious, and I hate people coming back with, well, it's free in September. No, sorry, don't buy it. We've already paid you for the game, and as we all know, probably another topic for another week, game prices are astronomical. But yeah, downloadable content, its prices are ridiculous. This should be nowhere near that, and I would be faced up, hands up, to welcome any game company that could give it for free. They would get my vote. I would follow them to the ends of the earth. But these greedy people that keep banging on, I mean, now, who set the price of 800 points? It seems the done thing now, and I don't like it. We all know downloadable content was supposed to be cheap, easy, accessible. It's not by a long way.
Yeah, tattered when they were releasing the Xbox 360 was the micropayments, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel that 800 points are micropayments. Although I do want to give a shout out to Ubisoft again. Those of you playing the drinking game at home, have a swig because it's Ubisoft again. They have made the map packs free. I know that people were charged for the black pack when that escaped early, but I think they have refunded the difference now, so praise to Ubisoft for making their map packs free.
They just interrupting you, sorry. They actually was refunded immediately, automatically, which is the first time it's ever happened, I think, on Xbox Live. Normally, as we know, refunds by Microsoft have got about a 12-week limit, but I think the mistake on the Rainbow packs, there was actually, I think I heard they was giving them the points back the very same day.
And another thing, I know for a fact, if you go onto Marketplace and you look up Call of Duty 2, you'll see that there's a map pack on there for 800 points, and Call of Duty 2 was a launch title for the Xbox 360. I mean, what's that all about? Surely they cannot still be making money off that. I mean, that's obviously flogging a dead horse, isn't it?
I actually heard, it's funny you should bring this subject up, I listened to a podcast yesterday, in fact, only yesterday, about this exact same subject and the Call of Duty problem. And they actually, because it was a bigger podcast, I'm sorry the name escapes me. If I remember, guys, I'll give you a shout out next week. But yeah, they basically said they've actually had an interview with the people that do this, and they basically come out with the reason that old games such as Call of Duty 2 has got still 800 point price point. They see it as this: as long as the game is taking up shelving space in gaming shops, therefore is still a viable selling product, they see no reason at all to lower the price point for the downloadable content. They see it as a sellable product. Now, to me, I think that's rubbish as well. Not the price. There should be, in time, prices should come down. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I've not had Call of Duty 2 yet. It is one I'm hoping to pick up. But how many people out there, seriously, are still wanting to buy Call of Duty packs? Anybody who's got the game will have got it by now. At least knock it down. Let's say they knock the 800 points down to 100. That might bring another 30% of players that's never bought Call of Duty. Might make them go out and buy it. What it won't do, it won't make them go out and buy it with the downloadable content 800 points. Like I say, the people that are doing this, to me, have got no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. I think on the subject of that, there's also another slight thing where you've got like a really, really awkward thing where it's like, if you have so many packs and so many prices and with the system that Xbox Live has currently, it makes me think that, you know, it's going to alienate people. You know, because, I mean, if you go into, say, Gears of War, for example, and you go into a map and you can't tell, it's Annex or it's a certain thing, and it'll come up and it'll magically say, oh, you cannot join this game because it requires, you know, downloadable content that you do not have. You know, and it pretty much goes for any game that has downloadable content. You know, it's meant to, you know, as they said in the beginning, before the Xbox 360 was released, they stated that this would be easy, accessible, as Toz said, and most of it, the majority, would be free, or it would be very affordable. But it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, Jason. What about the Crackdown?
Crackdown is the worst case for it.
That was murderous what they did to that. One day you're playing the game, playing it happily. Here we go, let's start running about. Next minute, oh, I see a flashing beacon, let's go and see what we're doing. Over with Pop. Sorry, you need to download so-and-so 800 points. I'm sorry, you're wrecking my game. That game, to me, when I found that on the first day of happening, it went, sold it, gone. And there again, brings back to me, I'm a customer. You want me to buy and play your games. You're doing it wrong.
I would just like to say about Crackdown, it does have one redeeming feature. I mean, yeah, I do know that when you're you know, at the minute I'm trying to do the rooftop races and the road races, and you get into a minute saying, oh, please download this content for 800 points. That is annoying. But I mean, if you're playing the co-op and someone else has got the DLC, you can use it, which I would like to see adopted by other games, you know, especially the first-person shooters, you know. Oh, this person hasn't got the map, but you have, so, you know, it somehow lets you in anyway. You know, it comes off the other person. That is a redeeming feature, I think, for Crackdown that, you know, I would like to see more games put into use, but I doubt we will see it.
I didn't actually know that, Neil. That's a good point, that is. I mean, I didn't even know that about Crackdown. But I still say it shouldn't be in the game. You should never have content added to an original product where it, you know, it basically is ruining somebody's game, because it's actually telling you, we want more money. Give us more money or you can't do this. That to me is wrong. Give us the choice. Give us the choice out game. Do not put content into game that is ruining my experience. It's wrong.
Okay, moving on. I just want to ask you guys, have any of you seen a piece of DLC that you've looked at and thought, yeah, that's a reasonable price, yeah, I'll get that, or do you think, or isn't they, you know, do you think there's not one out there that, you know, they've all got the pricing wrong?
Do you know what? Probably not. I mean, I'm going to do a rant in a minute about the big one, but I can't actually think off the top of my head. I mean, if I actually think what I have bought on downloadable content, I've just bought a few arcade games. I actually do not think... Oh, I tell a lie. I have... No, I haven't. Sorry. I've only bought arcade games.
Alright then, just before we close up, I want to talk about the feedback system on Xbox Live. I mean, we've all had it. We've all dropped into the game of Gears of War or Call of Duty 2, you know, or even, you know, Uno. Some of the horror stories I've heard from my friends involving Uno and the Vision Cam, you know. You know, what is it about Uno that seems to make people go crazy? Do you think that the feedback system on Xbox Live works, or do you think it needs a bit of an overhaul and tightening up to try and, you know, sort out some of the problems? You know, because we've all given bad feedback to players that we don't like. So, guys, what do you feel about the feedback system?
To be honest, I don't think it's all that balanced at all. I mean, you can quite easily report someone and, you know, send them bad feedback, and Microsoft can, you know, disable your account quite quickly. I mean, it's a good idea because obviously it means that if there's some really annoying on the other end, and he's calling you names, you know, he's saying, you know, what's under the sun to you, you know, and he's really ticking you off, or just someone that's, you know, maybe cheating in the game or whatever, you know, and as you're right, as the player, you want to, you know, report that, and it just seems to me that, you know, because it's so open-ended, and you can quite easily get away with it, and you can never really tell who's reporting you, it just seems to me that it's like, you know, what's going to happen from there? It just seems a bit crazy, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, the feedback is absolutely full of holes, and in my opinion is unusable. It cannot be policed by that way. It's one thing that cannot work right the way it's done. As for Microsoft banning on that, I don't think they do, Jason, because if that happened, you'd have no Xbox Live people on. This is where I'm saying it's full of holes. I mean, my question to you two would be, though, how would you do it? And I think it's an absolute impossible task. You are always going to get your online. We see it everywhere. Luckily, I've actually been very fortunate not have that many. What I will say to anybody out there who is on Xbox Live who constantly keeps getting the idiots, I mean, I always tell all my friends, if you want to play online, play with the people in your friends list. I know that sometimes your friends aren't on, or sometimes you need to invite another person, but I use this scenario. As long as you stick with the people you know, you're going to cut down on the idiots. But coming back to the way it's done, my question to you guys, what could you do?
Yes, I totally agree with that, Toz. It's very difficult to really kind of, you know, summarise and think how they could change it. But I mean, if there was some way that there could be some sort of security put in place so that, you know, if someone that you report, you know, is genuinely either hacking into the game, they're cheating, you know, or they're maybe, you know, just, you know, basically just slandering you, you know, and you report that, and of course, as you do, you go into the Xbox list and you get a list of different, you know, annotations that tell you, you know, what you want to report. You know, there has to be some sort of system where, you know, where you can find out, like who the person's, like who was reporting you, you know, when did they report you, and what for. You know, just something like that, so that you can, because if someone, you know, that you report and they find out, you know, okay, then that, and then someone might come to you and say, oh, I'll report them too because they reported me, even though that, you know, that they were the person that actually did it in the first place, and that gets you, you know, in trouble as well. When of course you're just doing your job and you're just trying to report someone that's genuinely doing something, you know, that they really shouldn't be doing. It just seems a bit anonymous to me.
I mean, to be honest, Jason, I mean, how do you police 6 million online players? It's an impossible task, in my opinion. Something that I actually do believe the actual ranking system, hand on heart, I've got visions of some lonely closet in Microsoft's office that takes care of that, and there's probably one person looks at it once in every 8 months. I think it's actually not even looked at. I don't even think anybody will even bother looking at it. It is a shame, and you do get the idiots. But yeah, like I say, stick to your friends. But as regard policing it, I just think it's a battle that Microsoft probably could never win, because it's just such an impossible task to police.
Okay, we'll wrap up there. Microsoft, there you have it. Toz has thrown down the gauntlet to you. If you want to get in touch with us, Microsoft, or, well, anybody, if you want to get in touch with the show, it's Cranky Gamers UK at googlemail.com. Also, on a side note, that any of you guys out listening to the podcast and you want to play with some non-gaming gits, I recommend a podcast on a website called Achievement Junkies. If you join their forums, they've always got a gamer party going on some one of the days of the week. They all play nice and play fair, so I recommend Achievement Junkies to you all, and also check out the show. So there you go. A plug for the podcast Achievement Junkies and all my friends over there. I'll give you a shout out some other time. Alright then, let's move on. Here's a new feature for you. This is Toz's Rant of the Week.
Can I just add about the Achievement Junkies that you can probably add later? I just want to say that when I first joined the Xbox 360 Live, I was very timid, didn't want to play online, very frightened, never done it before. I actually went... Yes, yeah, I know that was coming. But basically, I went to Achievement Junkies, saw the gaming online, welcoming people to come and play. I will just say that, yes, I went there. I went and joined a gaming night, and for anybody out there who is desperate to try Xbox Live, but is frightened, Achievement Junkie is the place to go. Everybody welcomes you. They actually welcome first-time players online, and believe you me, that's the way to go. So, any listeners out there, I would try it. It's great. But yeah, moving on to my rant of the week. And this week it's about Guitar Hero 2 and the downloadable content. Basically, as we all know, the guitar games are rife. We're all waiting for Rock Band, and Guitar Hero 3 is on the horizon. Now, I'm going back to the day that I saved up a lot of money to buy Guitar Hero 2. And the big thing that stuck out was the big sign on the box. The most downloadable content ever to hit Xbox Live will be coming with your Guitar Hero 2. As we all know, the prices of the content for Guitar Hero 2 is atrocious. And I still cannot believe today, as you look on Xbox Live, they are still charging 500 points for 3 songs. And the fact that you have to buy all 3, which is a pathetic way as well. Where are the individual tracks? Why not do an iTunes special? 70 pence a track. You could put track after track after track. I've got to say that this alone from them has made me not even entertain buying Guitar Hero 3. I will be going down the Rock Band avenue, because for the simple reason, yes, they've promised the downloadable content, and that's the way I'm hoping it's going to go, and handled correctly. Because quite frankly, what these have done about Guitar Hero 2 is appalling. The price range, and what really got my back up a few weeks ago, they nicely snuck in the back door the number 4 pack YE3 was on. As soon as I noticed that, down I went. I thought, yes, they've had complaint after complaint after complaint. They'll have put the price down. Lo and behold, yet another 3-pack, and yet another 500-point price point. Absolutely atrocious, and I hope, hand on heart now, everybody buys Rock Band and won't even entertain Guitar Hero 3, because quite simply, the amount of palaver kicked up by this downloadable content pricing by them, I'm amazed that they've not put the prices down, or what's even worse, I still to think to this day they have yet to make an official appearance on their official forums regarding price points. And at the last check, I actually think there's a post on their forums that had something like 70,000 views, all about the pricing. I've never seen in all my forum history of being online where a topic has raised such massive debate and basically saying it's wrong, and for them to still bring another pack out at that price, I hope they don't sell another Guitar Hero Get 3 game when it comes out. But yeah, that's to close my rant of the week. Guitar Hero 2, price point on downloadable content, probably the worst ever.
Well said, Toz. Well said, mate.
As you can tell, this is one subject where Toz really likes to get flaming. Well, I'd like to thank you all for listening to Cranky Gamers UK, and hopefully we'll see you next time. I want to thank my guests, Toz.
Bye, see you next week.
He, of course, is the crankiest gamer in the United Kingdom. Probably the crankiest gamer in the whole of the world. But if you know different, send us an email. And I'd like to thank our cranky Scotsman from the Weeds podcast, Mr. Jason.
See you guys. Goodbye! Get to the chopper!
And apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger that's been hanging around in the background up in Scotland, obviously not running California at the minute. You can find the Weeds podcast at weedspodcast.libsyn.com. So thanks to Jason, and thank you to Toz, and thank you to all of you for joining us this week on the show. I'm your host, Kid Dogg, saying, until next week, stay cranky.
Good old.